from different disciplines, like you worked with software, worked with mechanical, and you're electrical. And one of the skills that you had as an electrical is that you that goes into like the technical electrical skill, like you assembled a circuit, and that left a big impact in your group project or your work. And you can include built and assembled as a technical skill. And also for the technical skill, include, don't just list them, include them in a full sentences as well. But the relevant experience will be a little bit more in details than the actual skill sets. But if you have a lot of skill set, then I always recommend is do not list words, but make them meaningful, whether it was relevant experience or the actual technical skills. Okay, and I can upload that sheet. I got this one from Berkeley. There's a lot of resources out there you can use that you can get verbs from and put in. And make sure to include as many verbs as you can, because sometimes we miss on things that we don't think of. Like you designed the web page of some kind of website, right? That's a skill, right? You program something, right? Things like that, right? This is more of like high level skills, but there are more technical skills like engineered, fabricated, maintained, operated, programmed, remodeled, repaired. These are all technical skills. And make sure to include, every time I look at the skills, there are 3 top ones that I look for: time management skill, communication skill, and technical skill. I always look at these are the top 3 categories that I look at. Everything else is good to have, but that's what we're hiring for: people who can communicate. I always say engineers, you have to work on your communication skills, because that's the number 1 skill that you need to have. Communication and time management. Do you deliver in time? Are you good at time management and managing your time in general? Even as a student, we can actually look at that by, based on, we'll ask, if we come across and you had to submit a project, but you had this deadline and you had not met that kind of requirement, what would you do? We'll ask questions like that. And these are like all also personality questions, but we also look and evaluate person and their personality. Can they work under pressure and things like that? Can you communicate through with other people, and why not? So these are just some of the stuff that we look at. And for those who they did not do good in their first semester of school or second semester, or they have low GPA, don't feel discouraged. Even if you have low GPA does not mean that you're not going to get a job. I have seen many cases where people had a 2.7 GPA, 2.8 GPA, where they actually worked at really big companies, because we often hire people with personalities, people who can communicate through things, people who can show that they can make a difference, people who are motivated, people who are passionate. So you need to have those, aspects. And actually everybody who's in engineering field, they should have that passion of learning and to learn and to have that problem solving skills, because these are things that people look for, companies look for. And even if you want an entrepreneur and open your own company, you will need those skills. You need communication skills. You need that outreach and networking. You need the problem solving skills. All of those are very valuable. Okay. The next section in the resume is, let me go back. And for technical skills, it can be, I programmed in C. Just a very, very short sentence, right? Meaningful. And here on top, you can say, during my project, I used my skill sets in programming, and I programmed in C, and it did A, B, C, and D, right? You expand more here. Here, you just put it in short sentence. Just make it meaningful. Don't just list things. And always make it relevant, and always tie the relevant experience with the technical skills. And now the next section is certification and activities. So here you include any certifications that you have, any professional membership or extracurricular activities, includes volunteering, working club, being a member at a club, holding a position in a club, things like that. And if for professional membership can be women in engineering, the IEEE. There are many professional memberships and clubs that you can actually be part of. And it can be even volunteering experience. Let's say, you worked on this project for a nonprofit and you volunteered, you were part of the team of that coordinated the event, that contributed to the event, cool things like that. That leads to some sort of leadership skill that you have and good really time management. And let's say, you get a point, you're a junior and senior in college and you couldn't land an internship, don't feel discouraged. That is okay. There is another route, research route. Go to your professors, knock on their door, ask them, do you have any opportunities for me to volunteer to work on a project with you? That is all experience that you can add in this section. So don't feel discouraged if you don't have any. And I'm pretty sure many professors have projects that would need students' helps, and you can just use that for your benefit and include it on here. Let's say that, you weren't into any of the research that had, out there, you didn't like them. Go to a different department. Introduce yourself. Ask for, an opportunity to help in research for some professors. And let's say you did not get a research and you could not land an internship. The next thing, your best bet is to start volunteering. Volunteer at companies. Start asking for especially startups. Be like, hey, can I volunteer to work for you? Can I shadow you? Just try and reach people. You never know, honestly. Like, start emailing people for jobs and for startup. Ask them for. Be like, hey, I'm a junior or I'm a freshman. I'm looking for opportunities. Are there anything out there? Don't rely on websites. Each companies, they have a website. Apply on there, but also send an email to a recruiter. And that's why I say for startups, usually they have like contacts either on LinkedIn or their main company. They have like an email that you can reach. You can send them. That's easier. But for bigger companies, it's hard to reach somebody unless, the other option is going on LinkedIn and search them, and I'll have another video on how to set up your LinkedIn. But it's really important for you to have a LinkedIn, and that's how you reach for, you start connecting with recruiters and asking for opportunities if there's no emails on the website for you to send an email to reach to. And you can use ChatGPT to format the email, but don't rely on ChatGPT to actually express your passion. Write in your own word and have, ChatGPT give you better suggestions. But this is all for today's workshop. And if you guys would like this template, it's really simple. Or you want the verbs, there is actually another one when here you have, where you let a project, envision a brought life project. There's a lot of worksheets that I have for different verbs that you can use. They can turn into meaningful skill sets or meaningful sentence for your work experience that you had in the past. And like I said, don't strict yourself and limit yourself into just, jobs. It can be any project that you was part of your coursework or project on your own. And thank you all for watching. Have a great night.